Coach, you got the win at ETSU. You hang on to beat them by 7. After the game, post-game radio interview, you didn't sound – you were happy you won, but there were a lot of things that you said had to be fixed. When you went back and looked at the film, what did you see?
Well, we played hard. There was a great deal of intensity on both sides. We had too many self-inflicted problems, so to speak. You can't jump off sides 3 times. And on the same last drive where you need to move the ball, run the clock down, and hopefully try to score points, it was like we were marching back. We'd get to the line of scrimmage, they'd blow a whistle, and next thing you know, we're marching back 5. Okay, it's all right. Next one. Bam. Another one. Okay. Well, that's 10 now. And then when the third one hit, I think I don't know. May have lost it, kind of. But you can't do things like that and expect to win games. And you make plays like that, it's negative plays. It puts you behind the sticks. It doesn't allow you to possess the ball and run the clock and eventually score points. What it does, it gives the ball right back to them. And very frustrating about that aspect. Had a couple situations secondary-wise where we don't play the guy, deepest defender, and just let a guy go, and that created some issues for us as well. So there was way more good than bad, but if you're gonna be a championship team, you got to play championship football, and our expectations have got to be high. If you say okay is okay, you're not going to win a championship.
All that being said, you're 7-1, and you're in a position where you control your own destiny to win a Southern Conference title. Based on the fact you've played so many close games this year, do you ever think to yourself, how in the heck are we 7-1?
Every day, every night, you look at it and it's, gosh, why are we here? We walk in every Monday, and you just keep scratching your head. How do we pull that one out? Well, we're just lucky. Well, then there was 2, then there was 3, and on, and now we're 7-1. Face a tough team, very difficult team coming up. Another conference opponent, Chattanooga. Tremendous athletes. They can play some defense, and they have some outstanding athletes offensively. I think their struggle has been they've had several injuries at the quarterback position, and that's kind of put them behind a little bit. But last week they beat Samford, and the week before Samford beat us. So we're going to have to play a great game. It's going to be a great challenge.
Despite some of the mistakes you talked about at ETSU, you didn't turn the ball over on a very wet, rainy, windy day. And I don't ask questions often about your long snapper, but Ross Hammond was huge on Saturday.
No doubt. You have bad conditions. You have wet balls that he has to snap and be perfect on the snap. There's a certain time that his snaps need to get back there. And the precision when you're looking at a PAT and a field goal, you're looking at 1.1 seconds for everything to go right. And we've been very blessed to have Ross as our snapper. he does a tremendous job working every week to get better. We time him every time that we can. Last week we were working on Thursday on punts, and he was getting it back there. His fastest time was .71, and it was hitting the punter right in the hands. Same thing with the holder on PAT and field goals. So very, very pleased with him, and he's doing a great job.
All right, turning our attention to Chattanooga, new coach Tom Arth has taken over for Russ Huseman, who moved on to Richmond. Are they doing things differently? Let's start with the offense.
Well, offensively, they're a throw-oriented team. You've got a vertical game. You've got mesh routes. Any part of the throwing game that you want to describe, there's probably a piece of it in their playbook, RPOs, and everything else. They have a big offensive line. They're big kids, and they protect well. The problem that they've had is the rotation in the quarterbacks due to injuries and things like that. So they're getting better. I've seen that week after week. We watched all the film last night, and then we came back and watched it again this morning. And they've got guys who can make plays, and just don't be fooled by the record, I'll put it like that.
Defensively, they did a nice job against Samford. What is the strength of their defense?
Well, they've got 3 interior guys that are tremendous players. Exceptional size, great quickness, agility. Their stand-up people are top-of-the-line guys. They're fast, they're physical, and secondary-wise, they've got guys who cover you like a blanket. So they're a difficult team to score on. They're a difficult team to run the ball on, and we're going to be challenged. We really are. They'll take us to the max.
You've had one of those years. You come back for your 5th year. First of all, talk about coming back for your 5th year, because not every player does that at Wofford.
Well, yeah, and I was just talking to Mr. Shaughnessy about that. If you're coming back for a 5th year at Wofford, there's no grad school. You're not getting ahead. You're back because you want to play ball and you want one more year to achieve what you want to achieve. And we got a great group of 5th years, very tight group who all came back to accomplish that goal, and that was win a SoCon championship and play for a national championship. So it's it's a lot of guys who really just are wanting to take advantage of one more year of playing.
You talk about how it's not for everybody. There were a number of players who could have come back that didn't. Do you talk with those guys? Was it something where everybody sits down and says, "Okay, what are you going to do?"
Yeah, as a class, we were very close. And we all still keep in touch. I keep in touch with a lot of those guys who still aren't here. And, everyone's got a different situation, whether it be an injury that they're just, it's still bothering them, or they're ready to move on to grad school or start working and, just had enough, or their body can't take it anymore. But, yeah, still a lot of those guys have come back for games, always texting us, supporting us. So still a very, very tight group.
Talking about the body, you had a knee surgery leading into the season. What was it like to go through that, knowing that, man, I came back for this and now I've got to sit a little while?
Yeah, it was a little troubling. When I went down at first, I wasn't quite sure what to think. And then once I got the news from Dr. Cana that, we weren't going to know for sure until he went in to operate whether this was going to be a 6-week, 7-week thing, or this was going to be a season career-ending injury. So a lot of nerves and anxiety leading up to that. And, I'll never forget waking up out of from surgery, and all the assistants and the nurses had to run back and get my mom, because they said I just woke up immediately, started asking if I was done for the year or not. And I clearly don't remember any of that. But, it was tough to have to sit, especially with opening up with Furman. That's one of those games as a senior you never want to miss. But at the same time, I was extremely thankful that it was just 4 games and not the whole season.
And then you get back out there against Western Carolina. Talk about that injury and what it was like coming back from that one.
So that was Western was my first game back. It was a great one to get back for. Thankfully, I was able to get back at it for that one. And then had been playing most of the game, and then got back into overtime. And the first play of the overtime, I went to go cut a linebacker and ran into my arm and fractured my forearm a little bit. So we had to do another operation, get that fixed up, and then came back a couple weeks after that, which was a lot more difficult coming back to than the knee. The knee had a lot more time, and the arm, being a center made things a little bit tough. Again, I just cannot thank the trainers enough. Zach and Will down in the training room, they work with me every single day. They were trying to figure a way, just any way, to help me get back on the field, trying different casts, braces, working with me. Did a tremendous job to just give me a chance to get back on the field as soon as possible. So, but it was tough. It was tough.
Team is 7-1. You've watched some of it. You've played some of it. What has this team done well? And when coach says we're not there yet, what has to get better?
In terms of doing well, I just think that's what this group is all about. That's what Wofford football is all about, is resiliency. We get it beat into our brains that there's just nothing that's going to get in our way. We set our goal beginning of the season that we came up a little short last year, and we didn't get our SoCon championship, and playoffs got a little cut shorter than we expected and we wanted to. And so just the work that everybody put in this all season and how close this group is just, it's incredible. The culture around here is so tight. Just guys finding a way to win, just giving it all they've got week in, week out, no matter who lines up. And then what Coach Ayers is saying, we're just not quite there yet, definitely. And it's crazy to think that at 7-1 we're not there.
But is he right?
Absolutely. And everyone knows it. You could feel that after ETSU. As soon as the game ends and they're playing their alma mater and we're standing there, I'm next to Tyler Vaughn, and he's like, we just can't be too happy about this one. And he's right. Every win is a great win. Don't get me wrong, especially in our conference. There's no off weeks. Everyone's got a good team. Everyone can beat you on any given week. But at the same time, we know that the potential in that locker room is so much greater than what we're putting out on the field. Thank goodness the defense has been playing out of their mind and really keeping us in some ball games. And we know on offense that we can do better. And so I think, everyone's working hard. We're trying to do whatever we can to get that figured out.
What's it like to go up against guys like Mikkel Horton and Miles Brown in practice?
Well, it certainly makes practice not very fun, but in terms of preparation for the season, it's invaluable. And that's one thing I always tried to talk to Blake Jarasati, being a younger guy. It's so easy to get frustrated in days of practice. You spend all of spring, all of summer, all week long going up against those guys, and they're incredible players, and they're going to win their reps. And when you're a perfectionist, like a bunch of us are on the offensive line, it's easy to get frustrated. But having to remind yourself that you're going up against the best defensive line in the conference and, in my opinion, the country. So it does nothing but prepare you for what you're going to face on Saturdays.
Miles, the team is 7-1. You keep winning. Coach Ayers was not thrilled after the win at ETSU the other day. What did he tell the team post-game?
That complacency won't work, and that the silly mistakes we make are going to get us beat.
So when you go back and look at the game, do you see those mistakes? Do you see things that have to be corrected?
I see what they scored, 24 points worth of mistakes. So, yeah.
This defense has been very good against the run this year. What do you attribute that to?
Just assignment, responsibility, being responsible, and I got responsibility with D-line. Our linebackers play well behind us, and just try to do our jobs best of our ability.
There's an awful lot of depth on the defensive front. You go 2 and even 3 deep at some positions. How helpful is that as the season goes on?
It's very helpful against up-tempo teams. Guys have to rotate in and out, and thank God we haven't had any season-ending injuries this year. But having guys behind us that can do the same job just as well is very important to be successful.
You talk about playing against up-tempo teams. What's that like, playing a team that wants to snap the ball every 14, 15 seconds if they can?
Terrible. It's probably one of the worst things to have to deal with as a D lineman. Pushing around 300-pound men and then running to the ball and then get back to the ball and they're snapping it again. It's a bad day, but we manage and we do it pretty well. So.
You're a junior now with the program. Talk about what you've done to make yourself quicker, stronger, things like that, because you have improved your quickness since you've arrived.
I think it's just staying the course, trusting in Josh and Matt and just trusting what they're telling me to do and things like that. I mean, I don't think I'm doing anything out of the ordinary. I'm just listening and it's working.
Chattanooga this week, that may have been the biggest win of the season during the regular season last year. You go over there, you beat them in a close game. What do you recall from that game?
Just very intense, and the emotions were high, and it's one of those games I'll probably never forget. And we came out with the victory, and I feel like it's going to be like that this weekend too. It's a big game. I mean, they just knocked off Sanford, and we know that they have guys, but we just have to, at the end of the day, do what we're supposed to do, and we'll be all right.